What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new video. We are creeping up on some of the most fun times of each NBA season, and that is, of course, the All-Star Weekend. 3-point shootout, dunk contest, and then we got 24 of the most deserving NBA players battling it out on a head-to-head. It's perfect. It's perfect. This year we got it in Los Angeles, and I know some of y'all are in the Los Angeles area, so let me tell y'all on the way that y'all can go and personally watch the All-Star game.
Shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. SeatGeek is an app that aggregates tickets from all over the web to make buying simple. Not only do they get tickets from all over the web, but they let you know what's a good deal and what's not. They rank tickets from 0 to 100, green to red. Green meaning that's the best deal, and red meaning don't buy those because they're trying to get into your pockets. Not only that, but they show you a picture of what your view would look like from the tickets you're thinking about buying. If you want to go to any sports events, any concert, SeatGeek is the way to go. Link is in the description. Use the code KOT4Q for $20 off your purchase.
SeatGeek plug aside, I'm going to be telling y'all the 24 players that I think are the most deserving to be an All-Star. So this year they're doing things a little bit different. There are two captains. In this case, it's going to be LeBron James and Stephen Curry, two of the best players in the league. And they're going to be picking out of a pool of players. Now, there is a big confusion, at least on this channel, on how it's going to work. Things have changed, but the one thing that is the same is there's going to be 12 East players and 12 West players. That does not change. But out of these players, Steph Curry and Steph Curry and LeBron James get to pick their own team, okay? So in this video, I'll be telling y'all who I think are the 12 most deserving from each conference. They've already released the starters, and I got tweeted a lot asking, Kenny, what do you think about the starting lineup for each team? And my response has always been the same year in and year out. It does not matter who's starting. If you take a look at a guy like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, look at his resume. It don't tell you he started this many All-Star games and he came off the bench in this many All-Star games, because it does not matter. What matters is these players are All-Stars, and all 10 of the people that they did announce as starters deserve to be All-Stars. I put up the pictures so y'all can see who made it. Basically, yeah, we got 10 of the best players. Out East, Kyrie Irving, DeMar DeRozan, LeBron James, Giannis, and Joel Embiid. And out West, we got Stephen Curry, James Harden, Kevin Durant, Anthony Davis, and DeMarcus Cousins. So those guys are a set 10, and in this video I'm be giving the rest, the other 14 players that I think deserve to be All-Stars. So again, these are all my opinions. The way I made my list, I went through every player in every conference, and I wrote down the people that I think are having an All-Star level season. And out of those people, I picked the 7 players to make it. And in the Eastern Conference, there were 12 players on my list, and again, only 7 players made it. And the Western Conference, there were 15 players. I had to pick 7 people out of. So after I give y'all who I think deserves it, I'll talk about snubs and why I picked this player over that player and so on and so forth. So the first player on my list that I think is deserving is the Eastern Conference is Victor Oladipo. Victor Oladipo 100% deserves it. Some people think he deserves to be a starter, but then again, y'all know my opinion on who deserves to start or not. Does not matter. Victor Oladipo is having an amazing season. It's weird to see him come from basically an average starter to an all-star level player and close to an all-star starter. So Victor Oladipo is my for sure lock. Lock number 2 is Al Horford. When now you look at a team like the Boston Celtics, after their horrific injury, I'm not going to say nobody knew, but personally, I did not think this team would be as successful as they have been this year. And of course, it's because of Kyrie Irving, who is an all-star starter, and then their man down low in the middle, Al Horford. Now, when it comes to this all-star pick, and one thing you're going to see a theme throughout this is that I value winning over anything. If you're an elite player on a winning team, I think you deserve to be an all-star. And you'll see on this list when I talk about snubs, players that are having great years, but ultimately their team's not winning, so I don't think they deserve to be an all-star. Al Horford is one of those players, elite player on an elite team. His individual numbers may not say, he's not averaging 25 points per game, but we all know if you're watching this team play, he's making that team go. And he deserves to be an all-star for that. Next on my list is a lock, Kristaps Porzingis. Now, Kristaps came out and said that he personally thinks he deserves to be a starter, which is cool. I mean, it's good to have that. But if you look at Kristaps' production over the past couple months, it has gone down a little bit in comparison to the beginning of the season. But nonetheless, he's still on my list because he's still an all-star caliber player. Again, does he deserve to be an all-star starter? Does not matter. He deserves to be on that list. He's surprising the league. Personally, I didn't think that this New York Knicks team had anything, but they're fighting for a playoff spot. I think that matters, and Kristaps is the head of all of that. Taking a big jump from last year to this year, obviously less shots for Melo, because Melo's not there, and more shots for Kristaps, but not only more shots, he's actually more efficient, which means more than anything. Kristaps, for sure, lock. Next on my list as a lock is Bradley Beal. Yes, I picked Bradley Beal as a lock over John Wall. And this is where some controversy comes down because, well, there are not a lot of spots left. Personally, I think that at 26 and 20, the Washington Wizards are underperforming. I feel like some days they show up and they play great against great competition, and the other days they lose against teams that they shouldn't be losing against. And that's not a recipe for a team that I thought was going to be a top 4 team in the East. They're number 5, yes, but it's like these 3 teams, which is the Cavs, the Raptors, and the Celtics, are up top, and then everything beneath them is like, you know, average, if that makes sense. And Bradley Beal, if you ask me, is having a better season than John Wall. John Wall did miss a lot of time with an injury, and Bradley Beal kept them afloat. Look at their number, the individual numbers. Bradley Beal is averaging more points. Obviously, John Wall is averaging more assists. But John Wall, yes, I do have him on my list. He did make it, but he was one of the last names to make it. And he's actually just having one of the worst years of his career if you don't take into account like the rookie and the sophomore year. We talk about prime John Wall. John Wall, that I personally said was the 3rd best point guard in the league. He's not playing like the 3rd best point guard in the league this year. I don't know who it would be, but it's not John Wall right now. He's still playing all-star level, but he ain't, you know, you understand what I'm saying? He's just not up there with the elite, if you ask me. At least this year, he's not. He's averaging a low in points, actually a low in assists, which is still saying something. He's still averaging like 9 assists. And I think Bradley Beal deserves it more than him, but I do have them both on my list. These last 2 spots are going to go to 2 big men. The first would be in Kevin Love. Again, I value winning over everything, and that's why I think Kevin Love deserves to be there. He's having identical seasons than last year. Last year, he was an all-star, if that makes sense. So we got Kevin Love. And last but not least, I got Drummond. This last spot, for me, it was between Drummond and Kyle Lowry, all right? Again, I said I value winning over everything, but Kyle Lowry was just having not the best of years. As of recently, his numbers have increased, but just not the best of years for him. And because of that, I don't know if he deserves to be an all-star. Over a guy like Drummond, even though currently they're on a 4-game losing streak, they came out and surprised the league, and he was the leader of that surprising, you know? Him and even Tobias Harris came across my mind, but I don't think he deserves it over any of the other guys. So, snubs for the Eastern Conference. My first snub is obviously Kyle Lowry, as I mentioned. There are only 12 spots, and there are 5 people that are already locked on. So I only had 7 people to pick from. So Kyle Lowry, I apologize to you. I apologize to you, Raptor fans. Again, this is my opinion. Kyle Lowry he might make it, and I'll be okay with that. He's a guy that if he did make it over anybody I name, I'm not gonna complain because again, he is deserving. But personally, I think the other guys are deserving over him. So Kyle Lowry is our first snub. Next snub is Kemba Walker, whose names come into a lot of trade rumors. And again, I value winning over everything. And Kemba Walker and the Charlotte Hornets have disappointed. Next snub is Goran Dragic. Now, personally, this one was tough for me because if you take a look at the people I did name, there's at least 1 player from every team that's making the playoffs right now, except for the Miami Heat. And the reason for this is I look at the Miami Heat as such a collective that like the other teams, they have a for sure star, and the Miami Heat don't have that. And they're successful with playing as an elite team. And that's different than what we've seen recently, you know? Goran Dragic definitely crossed my mind. He just didn't make it. And last but not least for snubs for me is Ben Simmons. But the 76ers are not playing at a level that deserves 2 All-Stars, if you ask me. I think they're fighting right now for the 8th seed. And then Ben Simmons' numbers have decreased from that really, really great start that we saw from him. So right now, he got snubbed. If you thought that was tough, the Western Conference is even harder. So we have our 5 locks. We're not going to talk about those. The first guy that I added to this list this year is Russell Westbrook. Yes, the Thunder may be underperforming, but Russell Westbrook is still an elite player in this league. He is the first guy I have off my bench. He's still averaging close to a triple-double, and that matters. So Russell Westbrook is the first guy. The next guy added to my list, believe it or not, was Lamarcus Aldridge. Yeah, Lamarcus Aldridge is having his best year in San Antonio. If y'all don't know, he went into the front office for the Spurs, and he was like, I just don't like it here. I would like to be traded. And then him and Greg Popovich sat down and they had a conversation. They reworked the offense, obviously, because Kawhi Leonard is out. And now he's having the best year since his Portland Trailblazer days, which he was an all-star in. He deserves to be an all-star because they're missing a top 5, top 7 player in the league in Kawhi Leonard. but he's still leading his team to one of the best records in the league. And I think that should matter, so Lamarcus Aldridge is the second guy on my list. The next for sure lock for me was Draymond Green. Yes, he's averaging 11 points per game or whatever, but Draymond is one of the most important players in the league as far as for his team's success. It's just facts, man. The dude does it on both sides of the floor. Of course, he's been a candidate for Defense Player of the Year for the past couple years. He's won it one time. He brings it there, and on offense, he brings it too. Take a look at the top players in assists per game. You're going to see one power forward, and that's Draymond Green. He is a glue guy. He's super important, and he deserves to be an all-star because of that. Next for sure lock is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler started off the season really rough, coming into a new season, a new system. He started off really rough, but if you take a look at his last 2 or so months, the dude has been on a tear, and not only has he been on a tear, but the Minnesota Timberwolves as a collective have been on a tear. So he deserves to be an all-star. I think he's averaging 22, 5, and 5. Those are great numbers, but if you take away that first 2 months where he was somewhat struggling, dude is averaging like 26, 27 a night. He deserves to be an all-star. Lock it in. Now here are where things get difficult. We have 3 more spots, and let me tell y'all the list of players that I had to pick from. Klay Thompson, Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Karl-Anthony Towns, Paul George, Devin Booker, Chris Paul, Lou Williams, and Blake Griffin. 3 spots, 9 players that are deserving. So here's where me and you are going to disagree a lot, and that's okay that we disagree. The first player that didn't make the cut was Damian Lillard. All right, he deserves it. Damian Lillard deserves it over anybody else on this list. Again, he's leading the team, a playoff team, as the #1 option. He's averaging 25 points per game. And for me, it was between him and Devin Booker, all right? Their numbers are almost identical. Both averaging 25 points per game. Damian Lillard's averaging like 6 assists. Devin Booker's averaging like 5. Their numbers are pretty much identical. They both missed around the same amount of time, so injuries should not matter here. But the reason Damian gets the nod from me, and it's going to come back to it again, and that's winning. And it's not Devin Booker's fault that his team doesn't win. It's his front office fault. They have not made a trade. They have not drafted well to help Devin Booker. But I still think that Damian Lillard deserves it more because he helps his team win more, all right? Devin Booker will be a multiple-time All-Star in his career. I just don't think it's this year, you know? 25 points per game is nothing to frown at. He's an amazing player, and if I had one more spot, he would be making it. But I don't have one more spot, so Damian Lillard is the guy I put over him. Next, we got Klay Thompson, and again, I had to pick between him and Devin Booker. Klay Thompson's role is very important, but nonetheless, only thing he got to do is play defense and wait for the ball to come to him. Where people like Devin Booker have to create. Klay Thompson doesn't really have to create, you know? He's got 3 other All-Stars on his team. So should we value him over Devin Booker, who is the guy on his team, but he's the guy on a team that is way under 500? Or should we praise the guy that's part of the team, an all-star on a team that is one of the best teams in NBA history? I do not know the answer, but personally, I'm going to value the winning, and that's why I put Klay Thompson. And again, Devin Booker, I'm sorry, brother. You know, I got so much love for Devin Booker in his game, his grind, his mentality. I just don't think it's this year, all right? And the last and final spot, Karl-Anthony Towns. Again, his team is on a tear, and guess what? He's a huge part of that. This is the year that he deserves to be an all-star. So that leaves out CJ. That leaves out Paul George, which if you listen to Through the Wire tomorrow, we argued about this. I think 2 out of the 4 of us had Paul George on our team. Yes, he's deserving, but again, there are only so many spots. So Paul George, Chris Paul, I didn't put him because he missed half the season. Lou Williams, is he deserving? Yes. But then again, those other guys deserve it more. And then Blake Griffin missed a lot of time this year too. That's my list, all right? And that's it. That's my list. Nobody out of all of my co-hosts on my podcast had the identical list. Me and you are going to disagree on something. Right now, there is no right or wrong answer. Everybody that I mentioned in this list, even the snubs, are having seasons where they deserve to be all-stars. But there's only so many spots. So for shout out of the day, let me know what you disagreed on. I'm excited to read the comments. Hopefully there's no hate on this because I didn't add your favorite player. That should not matter right now, all right? Thank y'all so much. Peace.